Hi, welcome back to another episode of Jana Eats. I am super excited today because we're going to make a cheese sauce. And so often when you give up dairy, you yearn for something cheesy, let's face it. And there's so many great cheese products out there with a cream cheese consistency or ricotta. But although I've never really been a fan of Velveeta, although I think it tastes good, it's not good for your bodies, but this is kind of like a Velveeta sauce. So I think it's a real winner and I love it. And I've been making sweet potato cheese sauce for a while, but I tweaked it a little bit with the seasoning, so I hope you're gonna like it. We're gonna start with a sweet potato. I like the white flesh sweet potato. They're not quite as sweet as the orange ones. So I'm gonna peel this, and I hope you can see the size. You know, it's hard for me to guesstimate, but this probably makes maybe a cup and a half of diced sweet potato, and you're gonna boil this off with 3 diced carrots. And I'm gonna show you my cutting technique just because it might be easier. I'm also gonna just peel one of the carrots. Through the magic and miracle of filming, I've already boiled off sweet potato and carrot for this recipe, but I just kind of wanted to show you how easy this is and also show you my dicing technique. It's really important to get the dice about the same size because that way it will cook evenly. And so as you can see, I'm just dicing up the carrot. And what I usually do is I slice it down the middle so you have a flat surface on the cutting board. That first slice will be the most potentially dangerous, but once you get it stabilized with a flat end on the cutting board, it's so much easier. And again, I just put the flat edge on the cutting board and then slice down in strips. And then I've got another flat end. And I do find making a double of this recipe doesn't hurt, because not only is it good on nachos, but it's kind of good poured over anything that you like a Latin flavor profile for. Be really good on chicken in particular, and it would be a really good sauce for enchiladas. See, I think of things as I'm talking to you. You could do this with a regular potato too. I would add maybe a teaspoon of sugar to this if you use a regular potato, if you can't tolerate sweet potatoes. But sweet potatoes are so good for you, and even the starch and all the vitamins and antioxidants. It's in some boiling water. This is 1 sweet potato, and I only did 1 carrot, but you need 3 for the recipe. Okay, so I've got some boiling salted water waiting, and it'll be on the recipe on the JanaEats website, so you can easily access that, print it if you want, or look at a written page. The sweet potatoes and carrots are boiling on the stove behind me. I have cooked off some just because, hey, I'm a planner, people. I'm here for you. And this all comes together in a blender, so you can't beat that, right? So in you go. In go the sweet potatoes. The next thing I'm gonna put in, I'm gonna start with a cup of bone broth. I make my own bone broth. I go to Whole Foods, I get chicken feet. I know that sounds weird, it looks weird, but put them in a crock pot. Cover it with water, put a couple tablespoons of vinegar. I use cider vinegar to extract the minerals out of the bones in the feet, but those feet really have a lot of collagen in them. And collagen is so essential to gut health. And so often when you've got some food compromises, and it all starts in your gut. So bone broth is your friend. So I start with a cup. Sometimes it needs a little more, it just kind of depends, but I make sure I have it on hand. I've diced up a small shallot. In you go. Shallots are sort of an oniony, garlicky, and if not, do a couple cloves of garlic or do a quarter of an onion. Throw it in, it's very forgiving. The next ingredient is nutritional yeast, full of B vitamins, really good for you, and it's got an umami flavor. And umami is kind of, you know, like when you have a pizza and the cheese burns on the side, that crunch, it's that sort of toasty flavor. Anyway, I'm putting 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast in here, mostly because I just like the way it tastes. I can kind of eat it plain, I know I'm crazy. Then the next thing is 2 teaspoons of tapioca starch. And then the seasoning, people. So I'm gonna go with my Latin seasoning. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of garlic powder. I like garlic. I think it keeps you sexy. Everybody needs help in that department. And we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. Come here. I just take that lid off. So a couple teaspoons of cumin. And I like cumin, so I'm not even doing level teaspoons. I'm gonna do full ones. And then I'm gonna do coriander seed, ground coriander seed. And I'll just do 1 big teaspoon of that. And then I like chipotle. I like the flavor of chipotle. Chipotle is smoked jalapenos, but it can be spicy. So I'm gonna start with a 1/2 teaspoon of that. You know, and the other thing too, if you're doing this with nachos, as you'll see later, you can put jalapenos on it or something and make the whole thing spicier. So then I'm gonna put a little oil. I'm using avocado oil. It is so good for you. And we're gonna do 3 teaspoons of oil. 1, 2, 3. And the last but not least, you know how Mama loves a little salt. Salt, salt, salt. So because my teaspoon is greasy, I'm gonna do 2 1/2 teaspoons. So a teaspoon of salt in here. You can always add more. I added a lot of salt to the cooking liquid for the potato and the carrot, so probably has enough. Now, here we go. Oh my God. I'm so in love with myself when I do things right. This is delicious! Anyway, I'm gonna go call myself. I'll be right back and we're gonna lay out a tray of nachos and I'm gonna show you what I like on mine. Who doesn't like nachos? If you don't like nachos, you're crazy. So there, I said it. These Siete brand chips, they also have a lime one that would be really good with this recipe. So this chip is made out of cassava flour, avocado oil, coconut flour, chia seed, and salt. Everything that you can eat, I hope. Anyway, so I'm gonna lay the chips out on the one layer. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go and eat nachos, and they only put the goods on the top of the nachos, I get a little bumped, don't you? Like the bottom are plain chips. You're like, what the heck's up with this? So the other thing too is if you can tolerate corn, here's an organic blue corn chip as well. You could use these very easily. I like to start with a little cheese sauce from the nachos, and you just kind of, I would like to say I drizzle this, but I'm blobbing it on. So blob it, people. Practice blobbing on your sauce. And I like cheese on every bite, so I'm paying attention to that, right? Then, like a little onion, and I live in Maui, so I'm really lucky we have a Maui sweet onion. If not, Walla Walla. If it's Vidalia onion season, go for it. But oh, I like a Vidalia onion sandwich, but my mother's Southern, so that's how that all came down. And then I have a tomato. We actually grew these in the garden, and they're really good. So tomato. And I'm gonna put green chilies, patch diced green chilies. I did drain them. Green chilies on my nachos. And again, I want you to check out my technique and follow this because you want happy eaters. You're gonna put some on every bite. I'm gonna slice some avocado. The other thing I'm going to put on here, it's mango season here in Hawaii. I love sweet things with spicy. Mango and green chili goes unbelievably good together, and if you don't believe me, do a green chili quesadilla with those siete tortillas. I like the almond ones. Try it, trust me. And then I like a little zip in my pip, so we're gonna get some jalapenos on here too. And these are just the jarred pickled jalapenos. And then I'm gonna pop it in the oven for maybe 5 minutes, just so I warm it up and the sauce and all the ingredients get to know itself. This redefines loaded nachos. Oh, they are so good. Spicy, sweet, onion, green chili. Oh, you have to make these and let me know how much you love them. I'm serious. Go to JanaEats on the website. You can download the recipe. There'll be a picture of this. And thanks for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and share it with all your friends. And have some delicious gluten-free, dairy-free food, and you're not missing a thing, are you? Especially with a loaded nacho. See you next time. Thanks for joining me.